All right, mite treatment, anyone? We're gonna do a mite wash, and what we're gonna do here is use my favorite thing. This is Varroa Easy Check. That might be backwards in the video. It says Varroa Easy Check. This is a luxury item. It allows you to do alcohol wash really easily. This is about a half cup of bees. There's actually markings in here, but I use this. Believe it or not, my wife doesn't let me use the measuring cups in the kitchen for this. And then some alcohol. And then I've got my white board here that we're going to dump the results out onto and count. And I also brought this. This is what I used for years before, was just a jar with the lid cut out and some wire in there so you shake them around. So if you've never done an alcohol wash, we're going to do it. And what you do is you put the bees, this thing has, oops, come on, this little inner cup in it. There's actually marks in there. I don't know if you can see those. They're right down there. You put the bees in there, and if they were live bees, you know, they would you put them in there and dump them in the alcohol right away. Since we have a whole bunch of dead bees we're going to choose from, and it doesn't matter. Oh, and I'm wearing gloves. I always wear gloves. When they're live bees, it offers a little bit of sting protection. These plastic gloves, the stingers go right through them for the most part. The reason they offer sting protection is because it's plastic, and bees don't generally sting plastic. They're looking for skin or stuff to sting. So if you're wearing leather gloves, you're wearing stuff that they want to sting. I wear these because I'm lazy. And this is a sticky mess, and I got a camera and stuff, and I'd rather just do everything with the gloves, peel them off, and then I can put everything away without getting it all sticky. That's really it. I just don't want to clean up. So let's get our half cup of bees. And that's filled up to that line. Let me point to that line in there so maybe you can see it. Come on. Anyway, it's filled up to that line. And then we're just going to put alcohol in. Now, if this were live bees, we'd have the alcohol in there before. And you'd dump the live bees in and basically drop this thing in. Put the lid on and give it a shake. All right. Now, one of the questions that I get is, how long do you, is that on there? Yeah, that's on there. How long do you shake the bees, and how much do you shake the bees? And I have a simple solution for you. It's pro beekeeper stuff here. Wow, we're gonna have mites, I can tell already. So that's really interesting. But what you do is you sing jingle bells. And this is your jingle bell. Ready? Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha ha ha, bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle. You never thought you'd see this in a beekeeping video. Jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. And there, you've shaken your bees for a minute, which is what the instructions say. And you're shaking them at the, at the right velocity, so you're not, beating them up. It's different than going, Sweet Caroline, bump, bump, bump. All right, let's count mites. So what I'm going to do is kind of pause the video and dump this out, and we'll show you the results of the mite count here. And if we have high mites, that's frustrating, because then to some degree, I don't know if it was the cold or the mites, and it diminishes what we can take away from a dead out hive. So we'll see what we can do. Okay, and here's the mite count. There's a lot of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, can you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just quick, 9, Um, it's hard to pick them out there. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 just went over the edge. So regardless of how you skin it, that's a high mite count. So we don't know if the bees totally succumbed to mites or if it was totally cold. Based on what we'll learn going forward, we'll make some more assumptions, and we're going to also save some of these bees and throw them in a bag here, and we're going to check for nosema. We'll squish those up and do a, I don't know if I'll do a video of that or not, but you just throw them in this bag, add a little water, squish them up, and look at them under a microscope. I don't have anything where you can see under the microscope, so that's not terribly interesting. But we'll do that and get a little more data. But yeah, so they did have a high mite count coming out of winter, and that's unfortunate. All right, let's wrap up this horrible video. What have we learned? Well, first of all, God, it's so humbling to lose a hive to mites. That's like amateur hour, beginner beekeeper, you know, that's a stupid mistake. Now, the issue though is that I didn't do the things that lead to that stupid mistake. So I did the fall mite counts and I did the fall mite treatment, and they still kind of died on me. Now, around here, it's hard to do that. Some beekeepers can do a midwinter treatment with oxalic acid vaporized and blown through the hive and stuff like that. That doesn't work very well here because it's so cold, right? You blow some vapor into a hive and it's 5 degrees outside, you're going to kill your hive, so you can't do that. But I've not lost hives or colonies to mites historically, right? That's not an issue that we've had here. So losing one and having such a high mite count is kind of a sucker punch right to the gut. And that leads me to the question of why. Because, like I said, I did treat, but I have to think about why this happens, because the mites breed with the bees, right? So when the mites are laying eggs, they have to have bee eggs to lay eggs. They're not laying eggs off in some dark corner of the hive. They're laying them in the cells with the brood. And so it's important to understand that cycle continues until winter, when it stops, and then everybody just kind of hangs out there until spring, which is where we are. So going into fall, when the season had stopped, I had to have had a really high mite count back in the fall, because that brood that was in there, you know, there wasn't enough brood to have a mite explosion this spring. You know, that hadn't happened. So then it's a question of, okay, well, my mite count had to have been off, or the mite treatment didn't work. And both of those could be the case. You know, it could be some degree of both. And I suspect that when I took my bees, I took them off of, you know, the brood frames to try to get an accurate mite count. And maybe I undercounted, but, you know, it's not like this is the first time I've done this. So, but it's still a possibility. I'm no pro. So that's a possibility. And then the other thing is that the mite treatment itself may be the issue. I've used this Formic Pro all the time. Works great. But I've not used it in a hive of this orientation. And I was thinking about that. In a normal hive, like a normal Langstroth, you have the boxes stacked and you have the frames sitting in there. Now, if you were to take a super calm day, not a breath of air anywhere, and you light your smoker, so you get that, you know, waft of smoke, that genie in the bottle kind of waft of smoke coming out of there, you take it down and you put it right at the entrance. Don't puff any smoke, just put it at the entrance on one side. So you've got the full entrance here, put it on one side and watch the smoke. It'll drift into the hive or it'll drift away from the hive. And then you go to the other side and do the same thing. It'll drift in the opposite direction. And the point is that there's a natural airflow up and down in that hive. And when you think about the frame sitting there and the you know, oxalic acid or formic acid sitting on top of them, it's then you're basically washing that formic acid vapor throughout the hive. You know, catches up and down. Our hive is like this. I put those formic acid strips right here, 1, 2. And so I was thinking, well, it'll just drift down through. I didn't I didn't think. And the entrance is down here. Air's coming in and venting out the top. And so what's happening there, I suspect, is that most of that formic vapor was just carried right out of the hive. It was, it didn't soak down into the hive. It didn't have that opportunity to settle in. So I think that may be the issue, is just the placement of those formic acid strips needs to be rethought. And I'm not going to give an answer about where that needs to be. I'll do some testing with steam to see how the steam reacts with frames in there. I'll blow some steam in the entrance and watch how it kind of filters up through to make sure that I'm coming up with the right conclusion there. But I think that's probably the bigger issue, is, just the placement of that. And so while I didn't learn what I wanted to learn, I wanted to have this grand experiment and show the bees climbing up the frames and moving back and forth. And I wanted to see if they were going to, make it through without insulation and all this stuff. I didn't learn the things I wanted to learn. I learned something that's probably more important, which is how do you control mites in this hive, because that's going to be something that everybody faces as well. So what we do know is how not to control mites in this hive, and that is by putting your strips 1, 2 near the top and assuming that it's going to come down. That didn't work. So if you're building this hive, don't do that. And I think that until further testing is done, oxalic acid vapor blown in through the bottom entrance is probably the best. And of course you can't do that with the cap. It's not effective with capped honey. So for now, that's still the best route for fall treatment. If you're in a location where you can do those winter treatments, by all means do it. And the other thing about this is that I wanted to mention is that these bees, these weren't just irregular old Italian mutt kind of bees. These are super special carny bees. Where I live, it's cold, and so carnies do a little better than Italians. And in addition, these had Varroa cleansing genes, something or other. Anyway, these were bred to deal with Varroa a little bit more than your standard bee. And so I had super special bees. I treated for them using formic acid, but I don't think that treatment was effective in this hive. So that's the one takeaway. One caution is that when we're treating, we have to have a better way of treating than just slapping a formic pro strip on top. Okay. I think that's the takeaway. And I've got the bag of bees here, and I am going to do a video on how to check nosema. And I'll make another prediction that I'm probably wrong about. I don't think there's a ton of nosema, but who knows, maybe they're riddled with that as well. So stay tuned and we'll see how wrong I can be there. And I'll do a little steam test, and I'll show the steam flowing in the hive, and we'll see how that works out. All right, thanks for watching. We'll talk to y'all later.